Hey there, Cancer. Welcome to a tarot card reading that I'm doing with you, but this is going to be a tarot card reading through the lens of Greek mythology. You've got Tyche showing up right away. Oh my goodness, that's abundance, right? But abundance in the future after a little bit of difficulties. We'll get into that in a moment. You see, this tarot card deck has characters from Greek mythology on it, and in this way we can use historical lessons like the way that we would use a historical lesson if we were reading Plato or Aristotle. And through the understanding of these historical lessons, we can gather more understanding about how we would handle situations in our life. In this case, I'm going to see what's going on randomly in your life because, quite frankly, ooh, double card of fortune. Guys, you got double money here. Okay, hold on. Because, I have already done your April monthly reading. I've actually done your March reading and your April reading. We've looked at every single week in the month of March and April, so I figured I would do a random reading for you guys and just see what's coming up, and you guys are getting the money. Okay, here we go. Starting off with the very first card, Tyche, that came out. Now, she is in the reversal position. She does talk about wealth, fortune, chance, luck, abundance, and I find it really unique because Kairos just came in. And it's quite literally, spouting the exact same theme. Chance, luck, favor, sudden opportunities. With this in the reversal and Kairos in the upright, I feel like you were out on your luck. You felt financially, or like in terms of wealth and fortune, down on your luck, and there will be a very sudden shift for you. See, Tyche is like circumstances that you would win by putting in certain efforts. Your abundance was there because you grew that, but Kairos is about very sudden circumstances that hit you. Fortune and opportunities that hit. Sudden strikes. And it's sitting right underneath Kirke, which is the things you are trying to manifest anyways, the things you desire. Your desire for fortune. What I think is important is not to sleep on this aspect. If there's something that comes up for you in the near future that you could take action on in terms of wealth, take it, because Hypnos is here and he is connected to transitions of sleep. This is where the word hypnosis comes from, hypnos. He's connected to, sleep, hypnosis, illusions, the subconscious. And it's important with him in the reversal position that you don't sleep on, quite literally, you don't sleep on a sudden chance that comes to you. You know what? Demeter is also here in the reversal position. And I think this is really interesting because Tyche, like I said, this was a concept of abundance, but Demeter is connected to harvest. The long-term work to get things done, the ability to celebrate the hard work that you've done. Both of those cards about long-term abundances in the reversal. So I'd say that you've been having difficulty manifesting the harvest of your wealth for quite some time. To have two of those abundance and harvest aspects in the reversal and one sudden chance harvest, or not harvest, but sudden chance fortune and wealth in the upright, it's likely that the universe is going to come in and dump some kind of wealth on you in a sudden aspect because the long-term non-sudden aspects have not been working. In fact, with the card of chaos here, I think that in one end, there's been a lot of disorganization. But in another end, when it comes to your wealth, this jumping around business that you've been doing, this disorganization, going from one thing to the next, back to the same thing in its origin and then around again. It's like kind of going in circles. Do remember that with the traditions of chaos comes order. If you've ever heard the expression order from chaos and order, right? So things look chaotic. Things look like they're not going to have your abundance here. And then wham, in the end, you may actually have a sudden shift in your direction. Now, with Kairos, whenever I see this word about favor, I'm reminded of how fortune favors the bold, right? When things happen very suddenly, if you are too nervous to take advantage of them, then you sleep on the situation. And this can show up in many ways. Sometimes, it is a job that you have offered to you and you look at yourself and you're like, no, I can't do that job. And then you miss it. You miss the sudden opportunity because your fears get in the way. You're like, no, I can't do that. Instead of fortune favoring the bold, you get pensive and you choose the safer route. This reading is not about choosing the safer route. It's about understanding that order comes from chaos, and sometimes chaos happens in an instant. Both of these cards, by the way, are the cards of manifestation, right? This is a very quick manifestation that you have. Other times when it's not like job opportunities, it could be networking capabilities. Sometimes you deal with a certain person and that person offers you some kind of a negotiation, or they could be a partner that's coming into your life. They could be a representative that's coming into your life, and you look at that person and you're like, no, I couldn't deal with them. And if you come from that position of what could be considered resistance to whatever it is the universe is offering, suddenly you sleep on the negotiation of that particular individual coming into your life who could give you that fortune or that opportunity. And it doesn't just have to be relationships. I mean, this can happen in sales, right? Transactional things. Imagine somebody coming to offer you a house, or to be the buyer of your house. They offer you a little bit lower and then you just disregard them. But meanwhile, they were willing to offer $5,000 more if you just kept with that opportunity and went through the nature of fortune favoring the bold instead of getting pensive and stressed out and backing away. Let me just plug in my phone here for a second, you guys. Bear with me. She's dying. Okay, there we go. I think that that's the general understanding of this particular reading, is you do have sudden wealth that's going to be coming. Let me pull one more card here, and I'm going to see if we can tap into how this might show up. I'm curious. It's interesting. It's through another person. When I say that, that's because Helios is about mercy and compassion. It's about working with other people. It's also kindness and blessings that come to you through dealing with other people. These people are connected to a sense of safety or refuge, which means that this could be the kind of person who either gives you help, offers you help, or you have to offer them help. Whoever it is, if it's a representative, if it's a friend, if it's a partner, this is the kind of circumstance where there's going to be communications involved about help, mercy, compassion, somebody who gives you a route out. And when they do that, when there's a person who says, hey, you can do it this way, or if you talk to somebody and you're like, oh, how about you try this other thing? Don't think of it as somebody trying to necessarily give you a shortcut. Realize that this person who offers these sentiments later on down the road could have a benefit for you. Sometimes it's good to keep compassionate with people. They say it's easier to catch more bees with honey, if you've ever heard of the expression, because later on those bees could, if you treat them well with honey, they could be the very thing that gives you all of that honey. Like, use that metaphor of the bee for this moment here. Because if you treated bees as stingy as they could be, as dangerous as a bee could be, as something that you wouldn't want to hang out with originally, later on down the road, if you treat those bees well, are they not giving you the milk and honey of the gods? Are they not giving you your wealth and fortune? You see what I'm saying? Sometimes this kind of situation can come from a person that you would not expect it to come from. And like a representative, sometimes you get a call from a person who's dealing with your bills or your lawyer, and you're like, that person's a B to me. I don't want to deal with that person. You know what I mean? Or that person's beliefs are way different than me. I don't want to hang out with that person. If you find yourself doing that, there's a really good chance that you could miss that opportunity if you sleep on that person. If you treat that person well later on, that could come back in a benefit for you. It reminds me of the story of Baucis and Philemon, which I'm surprised the card is not here. And there have been other stories that have followed along with what I'm about to say. The idea in many different religions, not just Greek mythology, that angels or gods came down and descended upon men and then knocked at the doors of people in the city and the towns, and so many people denied the ones who were knocking at the door. the gods went to one house and those people said, get away from my doorstep. And then the gods needed somewhere else to shelter and stay, and they knocked at someone else's door. You never know when God is going to show up with that fortune or that opportunity. So treating people with mercy and compassion and working with them despite their differences, I think will really benefit you in the event that the universe decides, or in this case, Kairos, decides to drop some fortune on you and you don't recognize it at the time. So I'm going to leave you off with this. Cross your T's and dot your I's with people. Mercy and compassion should be the number one. Catching bees with honey can be beneficial, and that means don't be dismissive of situations that come to you, because you could be missing some wealth, some favor. And I don't think you will in the end. I think you may have before, though, with that many circumstances of going in a loop-de-loop with your wealth and finances. But with 2 cards here of manifestation, I think in the future, you're not going to miss it again. I will leave you off with that. Thank you very much, my dears. I will talk to you later, and ciao for now.